There we go.
Hey, Tara.
Hey, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties. My apologies. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, everybody.
Looks like we're all here. So we can get started now with the work session. Do we need to do a roll call, I think?
Yes. All right. Chair Kurth,
Here.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Here.
Commissioner Wells,
Here.
Commissioner Huber,
Here.
and Commissioner Harriman.
Here.
Everyone's here.
Okay, thank you. So we've got, looks like we've got 4 agenda items tonight. One of them's looking to be continued. So does anyone have any questions at this time on agenda item number 1? I noticed that we received an additional add-on, and that had to do with the looked like it had to do with the part of the environmental report approvals.
Yes, Rob, it was the MMP was added. It was inadvertently not included.
Yeah, and that monitoring program actually just takes the mitigation measures and puts it in a matrix to designate who's responsible for it and when it should be, when the mitigation is effective. So it helps the developer track compliance while they're under construction.
Okay, thanks. Anybody have questions on item number 2? Item number 3, any questions? That one is projected to be continued. Okay, any questions on item number 4?
I have just, I guess just out of curiosity, attachment H on item number 4 is talking about a realtor that's accused of taking part in international crime ring. Is that company or that realtor, real estate company, are they a part of this, this item?
They are, and we referred this item to our police department, and they did some research on it. It doesn't seem to be that it's tied to a storage facility. So we talk about it a little bit in the staff report, but when it comes down to it, we still note that the project complies with all of our municipal code standards. We did add a condition that there's be security cameras. I believe it's site plan condition number 9. And those, that requirement also require the footage to be available for up to 9 days and be accessible upon request by the police department.
Okay. I mean, because there's really no way, I mean, well, no, I mean, that's kind of, no, that's, you gave me the answer. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay, any other questions on from the commissioners or anyone on tonight's 4 items? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the work session to the regular meeting, which will be starting in about 6 minutes. Excuse me. Hi.
Yeah, everything's good. Hi.
I'm in the planning commission.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so I think we can get started. I'll go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Victorville Planning Commission for January 13th and 21. Roll call, please.
Chair Kurth,
Here.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Here.
Commissioner Wells,
Here.
Commissioner Huber,
Here.
Commissioner Harriman.
Here. Okay, next, if you'll please rise for the invocation, and then after that will be the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Marsh. Please bow your heads. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to meet as such as tonight. We thank you for those freedoms. We ask that you bless everyone in attendance in this meeting so that we can make the best decisions for the betterment of our citizens. Please bless everyone at this meeting and keep us healthy. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please place your hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the
of the
United States of America and to the
republic
republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
Liberty.
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a set of minutes that we will need to approve from the last meeting, which was December 9th, 2020.
I'll move to approve the meetings of December 9th as written.
I second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Huber with a second by Commissioner Wells to approve the December 9th, 2020 meeting minutes as presented. I'll take a roll call vote. Chair Kurth,
Aye.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Wells,
Aye.
Commissioner Huber,
Aye.
and Commissioner Harriman.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our public hearing items. Item number 1 is the 18 lot tentative. Staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 1 is planning case 2008, and it's a tentative track map with a mitigated negative declaration to allow for the creation of 18 single-family residential lots from one existing vacant lot, zoned R1 single-family residential. And it's located south of Dos Palmas Road, east of Topaz Road, between Nova Lane, Boulder Lane, and Rising Moon Way. Staff notes that this is a small lot infill tract completely surrounded by development. And additionally, the appendices, the environmental A through C, the biological, cultural, and greenhouse gas reports, just to inform everybody, are and have been available on our website for review under the environmental on the planning page. And staff would like to recommend that the Planning Commission conduct a public hearing, receive testimony regarding the proposed project, and take the following actions. Adopt the attached mitigated negative declaration with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, which you received today. And adopt resolution number P21004, approving tentative track map case PLAN 20-00008, subject to the attached conditions of approval. And staff is available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sarzinski. Anyone have any questions of staff on item number 1? Hearing no one, I will go ahead and open up the public hearing for testimony. If there's anyone here to speak to us on item number 1.
If you're here to speak, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of your screen, or you can send a message through the chat function. Chair Kurth, I don't have anyone raising their hand, and I did not receive any emails about this item.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to the commission for a determination.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Marsh. I would like to approve agenda item number 1 according to staff recommendations to include even the add-on items also.
I'll
Second,
second it.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Chair Marsh with a second by Commissioner Wells to approve PLAN 20-0008 as recommended by staff. I'll take a roll call vote. Chair Kurth,
Aye.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Wells,
Aye.
Commissioner Huber,
aye.
and Commissioner Harriman.
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 2, staff report, please.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth, fellow commissioners. Item number 2 is case PLAN 20-00029. It is an amendment to the Title 16 of the Victorville Municipal Code with an environmental exemption to modify various requirements and definitions pertaining to landscaping standards and the location and design of refuse receptacles for commercial, industrial, multifamily developments. This is applicable citywide, and this would be a recommendation for City Council consideration. We're bringing this item forward based on feedback we received from the Planning Commission. We've also worked with our Code Compliance Division and also the Sanitation Division of the city. In a nutshell, these revisions modify landscape standards to provide a variety of rock sizes within commercial developments, also allowing for alternative means to weed barriers for commercial and industrial developments. Currently, our code requires weed barriers, that fabric liner that goes underneath decorative rock on all developments. What we're proposing is that for commercial and industrial developments that have a licensed commercial landscape business that maintains the facility, they have the ability to waive that requirement so long as they put a pre-emergent down before they install the rock. So that's one aspect of this code amendment. The bulk of the code amendment, though, is a comprehensive revision to our material enclosure standards. We've received a variety of comments over the years regarding trash not being contained in dumpsters, also litter throughout parking lots. So this proposal is in compliance with the state recycling requirements. We've included provisions to ensure that the organics bin is included for businesses that have food waste. Also, it's in compliance with Vertex design guidelines as far as access and ceiling height for the dumpsters. It also addresses non-conforming nuisance sites, whether it's a site that doesn't have a trash enclosure. This code revision has a step-by-step process to allow our code enforcement official to require them to install a tamper-proof dumpster or eventually a full enclosure if citations continue and the nuisance is unabated. Also, the feedback we received regarding commercial shopping centers, also within maybe even a multifamily complex where we would find litter throughout the site. This code revision has provisions to require existing and proposed developments to include trash containers throughout parking lots. So with that, this is before you for consideration. I would like to note there's a couple of cleanup items I'd like to state on the record so we can have those cleaned up for the council's consideration. In this proposal, section 16-3.24, 110, section B, the definition of owner, we'd like to revise that to reference the San Bernardino County. Also, the same section, but subsection I, there's, for clarity purposes, we'd like to referred to dumpster when it's refers to a bin or a container. And then lastly, in that same section, subsection 2I, where it refers to a notice of violation within the last 12 months, we'd like to change that to notice of violation within any 12-month period. So with that, I'm available if you have any questions, and our staff recommendation is for the Planning Commission to find the project categorically exempt under CEQA guidelines section 15061B3 and adopt resolution number P-21-001 recommending City Council approval of municipal code amendment case number PLAN 20-00029 with the stated revisions that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Before I'll allow any discussion, let's open up the public hearing first to see if there's anyone here to speak to us on item number 2.
If you're here to speak on item 2, please raise your hand and we'll get you going. You can send a message through the chat. I'm not showing anyone raising their hands, and I did not receive any emails for this item.
Okay, thanks. I'll close the public hearing on agenda item number 2. And now we'll take any questions or discussion from commission members.
Hey, Scott, just to clarify, how many warnings are they going to get before the penalties really kick in? 3? Is it 3?
Yeah, it's 3 within a 12-month period is what's recommended.
Okay.
And Scott, just to clarify again, about that rock ground cover, once they put it down, they cannot go back to grass. How does that work again?
Yeah, so we did add another provision related to landscaping, which clarified developments that switch from a water intensive landscape to a drought tolerant. We've added a condition that states that they're unable to convert back to a water intensive landscape. So whether that's a commercial facility or a single family home that has turf, they are allowed to keep that turf. But once they do a landscape update and convert it to a drought tolerant landscaping, our code no longer allows them to convert it back. This is in compliance with state water standards. So we've just codified it within our own code now.
And how would that get monitored? How would the city be monitoring that if a resident or a business does such a thing?
Usually we would catch it through like a Google Street View to see if they had a prior drought tolerant landscaping. We really haven't seen this pan out yet, to my knowledge, but we have our code enforcement official on the line. George, have you come across this yet, where people convert back to water intensive?
Scott, this is Mike. A lot of the times when the homeowner allows their yard to die, all the vegetation to die, and code cites them, then they will require whatever was there to be drought tolerant after that point. So if it's been dead grass for 6 months, they get cited. They can't put the grass in, it'll be drought tolerant. That's to my knowledge.
That's correct. Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself, but that's correct. Generally, we are reacting to landscape complaints, and at the time we're responding to perhaps the maintenance of a yard. We do see that perhaps the landscape, there is no landscape, there's no turf, it's all dirt. And at that point, we provide them the code, which states that they have to install landscape as required here in the landscape standards. If if they have turf and grass and it is live, but there are areas of where it's patchy, we will allow them to repair that. But generally, it's addressed through complaints, and then from there, it's documented in a code case.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Scott, I have one more question. I know in some cases, maybe the multifamily housing just needs more trash pickup dates. Let's say they get the trash picked up once a week. Is that going to be one of the conditions, maybe if they get cited, that they need to have the trash collection, they need to add a day because they're getting maxed out?
Yes, that would be part of the enforcement. If they have issues of overflowing trash, yeah, they would need to add more service dates throughout the week. Or if that's not available to them, if the citations continue, they may have to add an additional enclosure.
Okay, thanks.
Scott, I have one question.
Yes.
As far as like the shopping centers or the larger establishments, are there going to be any? Is there any guidelines, or are there going to be any guidelines as to how many receptacles, the trash outlets that they have to have within their, within that shopping center, or the property or whatnot?
Yes, there is a section regarding the public litter containers, and it states the location of public litter containers. Install public litter containers within 10 feet of a food generating or food selling store planned on the property. Include containers along internal on-site walkways at intervals of 300 to 350 feet, and locate containers at pedestrian entrances and exits of property. That's how it's currently proposed.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
I had a question on that topic. I read that with the 3 different elements where trash containers could be on a new shopping center. And when it comes to the point of putting trash enclosures at entrance and exits for pedestrians of the shopping center, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a situation where, I know people might walk to a shopping center, but normally it's vehicle travel going in and out of these shopping centers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if there could be a little bit of flexibility on this, knowing that a lot of the trash is kind of out in the middle of the parking lot. It's not up next to the building. Like, people will go out and eat in their car, and unfortunately they just like do the easiest thing and throw it out the window. This is what it looks like to me. And the trash is just kind of randomly laying around in the parking lot. A lot of it's food trash. I wonder if it might be more beneficial, not asking for more costs and more trash containers, but maybe like in grocery stores or larger parking lots, maybe the trash containers could be where the cart corrals are, or somewhere kind of centrally located where somebody could get out of their car and at least take 10 steps and, throw their trash away. I'm not sure that's even the problem, but could that be looked at as well?
Yeah, the key word that's used here is pedestrian. So I agree with you, putting trash receptacles where it's mostly vehicle driving wouldn't really help. But yeah, we could add a provision that addresses that concern.
Yeah, maybe just some flexibility when staff initially looks at the site plan to say, hey, maybe we don't need these receptacles here at the drive aisles or at, the sidewalk leading into the center, but maybe more out in the middle of the parking lot near the cart corrals, or kind of positioned centrally located throughout. They may get more use. I don't know. Something to look at.
That's a good point, Rob. And that's when I brought that forward, I was thinking that was my train of thought also. I went to In-N-Out today and had lunch. And when I in my car or my truck, and when I got out, I walked about 20 feet and there was a trash container in the parking lot. So yeah, I think I'd like to see that verbiage in there also.
And just to re-clarify, I'm not looking to add more of a burden on the developer or the maintenance of the shopping center. I'm not asking for more receptacles. I'm just asking that they be placed maybe more strategic if possible. That's all.
Okay. So I could add a provision related to that. The location of these litter containers would be subject to the zoning administrator review based on pedestrian access to these receptacles.
I would think so, because it needs some flexibility. Like Commissioner Harriman just said, maybe there's a little tiny small center where they do get a lot more foot traffic. In that case, it might be placed over here or over there. So yeah, I think that language would be good for the zoning administrator, or if the site plan came to the planning commission.
I have a question. It is a very good idea to place the receptacles where people can not litter. But I don't know if I read it there or not. Who cleans them out? Who dumps them to go to the trash? Who's responsible for that? The where they are, the businesses where they're placed, or the city goes through? I'm just not sure on that.
Yeah, the responsibility to maintain the receptacles falls on the property owner.
Okay.
So yeah, it's stated in that code section that the property owner is responsible, and that they shall be.
Okay, I missed that. Okay. Thank you.
There's requirements that they're maintained in a clean and graffiti-free condition.
Thank you.
Hey, Scott, another gauge for that, the amount of trash containers, wouldn't the amount of parking spaces be a good gauge of that?
Yes. It was like Rob Kurth, the chairman, said it's if we were to dictate a certain amount of trash receptacles, when sometimes that parking field is only used maybe during the holiday season. We didn't propose to go down that route to have a hard number of amount of trash receptacles throughout the parking lot based on their total stall count. But if that's what the commission wants, we could consider that. We were mainly looking at like the high traffic areas at pedestrian entrances and exits, or areas of high pedestrian use, like adjacent to the cart returns within a parking lot.
If I may comment as well, Scott, the issue with that approach could be also is if you look at, we have a variety of centers that have multiple parcels attached to one center, and commonly patrons will park in different areas of that center, not knowing that there's different parcels. So that may be a bit of a challenge in dictating the number of receptacles per parcel, if that makes some sense.
Commissioner Harriman, was your concern that we wouldn't be requiring enough trash bins throughout the parking fields?
Well, my concern is like, we'll just use Walmart as an example. You know, that store with the volume in that store, there's people that are parking several hundred feet from the storefront. So, that's where they tend to dump trash because they don't want to make the trip to wherever the trash container is. And I'm not saying they should be, I don't want to go crazy with it, but I just would like to see a trash container made available more times than not. The Winco, there's diapers all over the place in that parking lot. So I'm just, I know it's kind of tricky because if they're though, like I said, you don't want the trash containers or have it regulated to where they need some in areas that are a distance away, but the people that patronize and are that far away are usually the ones that dump, usually the ones that aren't taking the time to walk it. It's the same with shopping carts. You see the shopping carts in the shopping centers, when they get way out there, they leave them there. They don't walk them over to the cart collection area. So I know that's kind of tricky. I get it.
So what we could do, if this item does get codified by the council, as new developments come in, when we work with the developer to make sure that their site plan's in compliance with our code, we can have them at the planning commission stage indicate the locations of those trash receptacles throughout the parking lot. So as the planning commission reviews these, we can call attention to this new standard and get the commission's feedback as we start approving new projects. So if it requires an additional revision to the code at a later date, based on the practical implementation of this code, we can always modify the code at a later date.
I think that's a good suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I just want our city to stay a little cleaner than it is right now.
Any other comments or questions on this item? And if not, then we'll look for a motion.
I'll make that, Paul. I make that motion, Chair Kurth, to approve agenda item number 2, according to staff recommendations.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Chair Marsh, a second by Commissioner Harriman to approve PLAN 20-0029 as recommended by staff. I'll take a roll call vote. Chair Kurth?
Aye.
Vice Chair Marsh?
Aye.
Commissioner Wells?
Aye.
Commissioner Harriman?
Aye.
And Commissioner Huber?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 3 was a modification to a tentative. Looks like there's a request for this to be continued. Is there anything that staff would like to report on this one?
No, Chairman. It's just the applicant hasn't been very responsive over the holidays. But we'll get this going for the Desert Grove Shopping Center as soon as possible. Hopefully,
okay.
We'll see it in February.
All right, then I'll open up the public hearing. If there's anyone here to speak to us on agenda item number 3.
If you're here to speak on this item, please raise your hand, send a message to the chat. Chair, I'm not showing anyone raising their hand, and I did not receive any emails about this item.
Okay. Then I will I'll leave the public hearing open, and I'll continue this item, make a motion to continue this item to February 10th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
I second.
All right. I have a motion by Chair Kurth, a second by Commissioner Wells to continue case PLAN 20-0029 2022 to the February 10th, 2021 regular planning commission meeting. I'll take a roll call vote. Chair Kurth,
Aye.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Wells,
Aye.
Commissioner Huber,
Aye.
and Commissioner Harriman.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 4, the self-storage facility. If we could have the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 4 is case number PLAN 20-00024. It's a site plan and a conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the development of a self-service storage facility with a 2-unit caretaker's unit on property zone C1, which is neighborhood service commercial. This property is located east of and abutting Amethyst Road, just south of Seneca Road. It's a 4-acre site, and it's been previously disturbed from development to the north, which is a separate storage facility, as well as to the east, which is a public school. Along the south property line and the western property line are roadways that will be improved to a minimum half width, abutting the frontage of the site. The proposal consists of 3 separate buildings with a total floor area of approximately 7,200 square feet. I'm sorry, 72,000 square feet. 69,000 of that approximately is the enclosed storage area, and approximately 1,400 is an office space. And as noted, there's a 2-bedroom caretaker's unit on site as well. Additionally, in the center of the site, there's uncovered recreational vehicle parking that will accommodate multiple spaces. I believe over 50 based upon the final design of how they lay that out. Regarding development standards, the site complies with all general development standards of Title 16, setbacks, lot coverage, and fence height. There are conditions included in the staff report to address building height issue. There was building height that exceeded the 35 feet permissible by 1.5 feet. So there's conditions added to address building height, to require enhanced paving in accordance with the commercial design guidelines, and as well to address general landscaping requirements that are typically included on every project that comes before the Planning Commission. The elevations as proposed comply with the commercial design guidelines. They include multiple materials, parapet heights, wall planes that are in accordance with the requirements of the development code. Staff has received comments from various agencies regarding this proposal, those being Burtec, due to the lack of an on-site refuse collection area. So staff has conditioned for that accordingly to make sure a trash enclosure is provided on site. There's ample room to provide that without causing the site to go under parking requirements. There's been comments received from the Air Quality Management District to implement their typical comments regarding fugitive dust best management practices. Those have been added as well. And lastly, the Water Quality Control Board has provided comments. Staff has discussed the comments provided with the Water Quality Control Board as noted in the staff report. Staff did not concur with the assumption by the Water Quality Control Board that the site was not exempt from CEQA. Staff followed up with the board. They agreed with our assessment of the project. We've also included conditions at their request that will address their concerns. However, they are not required to address the environmental exception that we noted, and I'll discuss later. So the item can stand alone environmentally without the added conditions proposed by the Water Quality Control Board. We've also received public comments from neighboring property owner. The comments are noted in the staff report, and there was some background information provided on the property owner and potential illegal activities that have gone on in other municipalities. City staff followed up with the police department, and it was determined that none of these occurrences happened within our county, and also none of the occurrences happened within a storage facility. So based on that, in order to address the concerns of the neighboring property owner, staff has included conditions that would require enhanced security measures that would essentially require coverage of the entire site, require availability to that video surveillance to the police department upon request, as well as to ensure that the infrastructure is in place in conjunction with the construction of the site and the building plans, which is not typical of construction plans, but it seemed appropriate in this instance to make sure that the backbone infrastructure is there to make sure coverage is provided for the entire site. Environmentally, as I spoke, staff has found this project to be categorically exempt from CEQA pursuant to section 15332, which is infill development. As noted, the project meets all the requirements of that categorical exemption. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the project as conditioned and is here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Haragi. Does any of the commission have questions on item number 4?
Yeah, I just have one quick question. I'm kind of surprised they don't want to cover the outdoor parking area. Most people want to put their motorhomes, if they're going to pay to a place to park, would be under a roof. I'm thinking we don't have any jurisdiction or any say in any of that. It's just a thought of mine. I know the facility there by Home Depot has covered outdoor parking, and I believe they even have solar panels on that roofing.
If the applicant, our development code doesn't address that as being required, but if the applicant chose to, they could do that via administrative approval and a minor site plan. Also, they would be required to comply with any Title 24 requirements in terms of energy conservation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing for testimony on item number 4, if there's anyone here to speak to us.
I do. I have a Bruce Jordan. Oh.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Bruce Jordan, and I represent the developer here this evening. And I would like to start out by saying we've been through the staff report. We've evaluated all the conditions, and we're good with all except 2 of them that I would like to briefly address, and so forth. One is, I believe, a non-issue. The condition number 5 regarding the height. We are completely fine with limiting the height to 35 feet. So we're good with that condition. The only other condition I'd like to address is condition number 12 regarding the trash. Now, our firm specializes in the design of these self-storage facilities, and what we've found is that when we have outside self-contained freestanding trash enclosures, we have a lot of environmental issues with people dumping stuff in there that's illegal and shouldn't be there. So what the industry as a whole has done is moved to putting these inside a self-storage space with a roll-up door and a man door, and the manager carries a key similar to a restroom at a gas station. And when the person wants to dump their trash, they have to go talk to the manager, so the manager can then monitor what goes into the screen, into the trash enclosure. So this is the method of the new Class A self-storages are all moving to this, and we would like to do the same here. We'll comply with all the size requirements and the amount of it, and so forth. So that is not an issue. But other than that, we're fine with all of the conditions. I think you know that these self-storage projects are low trip generators. They have very little police and fire protection needs. They're quiet at night. There's no need for light bleed over. And we think we've come up with some pretty unique and very handsome elevations for this project. So we're excited about it. And we urge you to approve it tonight. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Before we address your question on item 12, are there any questions from the Planning Commission for the representative here tonight?
Yeah, I have a question, sir. If somebody is at their storage unit, they have to go all the way to the office and get a key, or does the manager have to walk all the way then back out and open a door for them to put something in the trash?
No, normally what happens is we usually locate those up near the front for the convenience of the trash company and visible from the office. So if somebody wants to throw away something from their unit and they're far away, they usually put it in their car when they drive back up to the office and just do it then. So this is really a non-issue. It's not a big issue at all. Even if you had an outside, freestanding trash enclosure, they'd still have to walk. So nothing changes there.
Yeah, I don't care if they have to walk. But isn't it going to be locked?
Yes.
So they would need somebody to unlock it for them if they want to put something in the trash.
No,
right?
they would be given the key that's on a key holder, and there's a little sign on the trash enclosure. If you wish to dump trash, please come and get the key from the manager. And what that does is it alerts the manager to look so they can tell what's being thrown in there. The self-storage operators don't want to be in the trash business. We don't want 4 or 5 mattresses thrown outside and just piled up against it. So this is the way the industry is moving, to control trash and be more responsible about it.
Okay, thank you.
I would say too, I don't know where on earth this growing a pot thing came from, but I can tell you, after talking to the developer, who's a first-class person, they wanted a first-class facility here. Our managers will be highly trained to look for that stuff. There's no electrical outlets within the units whatsoever. There's no way they could have electricity for grow lights. So that is simply unwarranted and is never going to happen.
Okay, thank you. I would like to get staff's expert opinion on the request on item number 12 with the trash enclosure.
Sure, I can handle that. In looking at the condition, I think it covers the intent of the developer. The last sentence of it states that the location, design, and quantity of the enclosures shall be subject to staff review and approval. So I do think that the industry standards kind of would help mitigate any nuisances of trash, similar to item 2 that we talked about today. So unless the applicant has any real concerns about the wording of the condition, we'll make note that they intend to design it as part of an enclosure unit, and we'll review it once their construction plans are submitted.
No,
Okay.
we're fine with that. Happy to work with staff to work that out. So I'm fine with that.
Great.
Okay. Are there any other questions for this applicant? Okay, then, is there anyone else here that would like to speak to the commission on agenda item number 4?
If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand, or you can send a message through the chat. Chair Kurth, I don't have anyone else raising their hand, and I did not receive any emails about this item.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing on agenda item number 4, and I'll bring it back to the commission.
Chairman Kurth, this is Commissioner Marsh. I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 4 according to staff recommendations.
I'll second.
And does that motion, are you in agreement with being able to have staff work on changing that condition number 12? Is that what we need to do?
Yes, that's included. Yes, thank you.
I agree.
All right, I have a motion by Vice Chair Marsh, a second by Commissioner Wells to approve PLAN 20-00024 as recommended by staff, and staff will work with the developer or the applicant on condition number 12. I'll take a roll call vote. Chair Kurth,
Aye.
Vice Chair Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Wells,
Aye.
Commissioner Huber,
Aye.
and Commissioner Harriman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, according to the Brown Act, we need to make time available for the general public to address the Planning Commission on any items within our subject jurisdiction. Is there anyone here to speak to us during open public comments?
If you would like to speak during public comment, please raise your hand, or you can send a message through the chat function. Chair Kurth, I don't show anyone raising their hand, and I did not receive any public comment through email.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll have reports by our commissioners and staff. We'll start with Commissioner Wells. Anything?
No, just Happy New Year. Nothing, I don't have anything to report.
Commissioner Marsh.
I do have one request. It's been brought up before, but that wash area that's behind the First Assembly Church on Mariposa and Nisqually, that wash area, it's really looks bad as far as the trash and debris that is out there. Now, there's been a pretty good handle, it looks like, as far as the homeless encampment. There's only one, looks like one shelter that's inside the wash itself. But you know, that area, it sits right, you know, I mean, it's right off the freeway. I don't know what, you know, how much visibility people have, you know, driving on the freeway, but it's really looking bad inside the wash and along the edge of the wash as far as all the trash and everything. And I'm hoping that despite, you know, I mean, I know that we're in COVID and everything, but if some attention can be, you know, placed on that soon, you know, before it becomes really, you know, out of control. And that's all I have besides, you know, Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Commissioner Huber.
Just a Happy New Year to everybody.
Thanks. And Commissioner Harriman.
Yeah, hey, Brian, I have a question. I've been noticing some of the street signs, the older ones. I don't even know if this is falls into the realm of your responsibility or your department, but some of the old ones have been completely bleached out from the sun. And I was wondering, do we have anything in place where when we identify those, they can get replaced with newer ones? Looks like the reflective everything just has disappeared on some of them.
Yeah, that is under me. Are you talking about the street name signs that are the smaller ones at the corner of a street, or are they the ones that are on the traffic signals?
No, in the residential areas, the smaller streets with the signs on the corners.
Okay, I can bring that to the attention of our traffic maintenance section, and then we can get back with you on that and see if we have a plan, a program for replacing those.
Yeah, it's not everywhere. Most of our signs are good. It's just in some of the older areas I noticed.
Okay.
And that's it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay, thanks. I agree. And I have nothing else. Do we have any information or any reports from staff members?
Yes, I just wanted to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all virtually at our first meeting, or kickoff meeting for a general plan update for February 1st. So more information will come out next week as we notice the public. But we've built a website with some basic information that's already populated on the website. If you go to our city website, / general plan update, you'll have access to that information, and we'll add to it as the project progresses.
This is going to be the 10-year update. Is that right?
Yes, there's a variety of elements that we're updating. First, we'll focus mostly on the housing element. That will span for 8 years. And then we'll also work on the land use element, the safety element, and then we'll be creating a new environmental justice element that addresses social equity within the community. Those will all be included. Those three elements don't have really a expiration date. But typically a general plan on its own can last about 20 years. So we're updating the major elements of the entire document. So it's a good time to receive your feedback and kind of help chart the course for new development in the years to come.
And that's February 1st, right? 5 o'clock?
Yes, 5 o'clock, and it's a Monday. We applied for a grant through the state and received funding. So we have a consultant firm, their name is Harrison Associates. They're professionals in this field and have updated a variety of housing elements, general plans throughout the entire state. And so they'll be on board and will walk us through the process. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's a good opportunity to, like I said, improve the city and chart the development course for the future.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. And with that, I'll say we are adjourned. Till next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
No.
Good night, everybody.